स्क्रीन तो आ रही है, बैठ के क्या वो एग्जैक्टली आई वाज जस्ट फिगरिंग आउट. How can I be back?
इस पे रखो और देख लो कैसा आ रहा है.
लिंक भेजो, मैं देखता हूँ.
अरे बुक्स नहीं है किसी के में ऊपर करना है.
अरे किसे
हाँ अब यहाँ तक आ रही है. इस हाइट कौन सी चाहिए मुझे बताओ. मैं बुक तो नीचे मिलेगी. हाइट कौन सी चाहिए. ये वाली चाहिए. यहाँ पे पैर पड़ी ना शेयर करना
लिंक किस नोट से तो आई नहीं.
यहाँ पे चलेगा किसी के यहाँ
कहाँ किस पे भेजेगा.
थोड़े पेपर ऑनलाइन देने तो
बैक
Everyone, it's a request, please maintain the decorum throughout the event. Thank you. Also, everyone, it's a request, please put your phones on silent mode. A very warm good morning to all of you present here. It's an immense pleasure for every student, including me, to kickstart their journey of college after almost 2 years. For this, I would like to thank our principal, Dr. Nirmal Jindal, teacher in charge, Dr. Ankur Bhatnagar, coordinator, Ms. Deepika Agarwal, and other dignitaries for providing us with such an exceptional opportunity and platform. With this, I would like to invite our teacher in charge, Ankur ma'am, to welcome our honorable guest, Mr. Kashyap, and share few words of wisdom with everyone.
From the department side, very warm welcome to Mr. Kashyap on the first offline event after 2 years happening in the college. And of course, thanks to my entire team of students, teachers, especially Ravinder, who's friend, Mr. Kashyap is his friend, and Ravinder said कि मैम I'll try and get a guest जो हमारे बच्चों के साथ बात करें at their level. So Mr. Kashyap, thank you so much. I just got to know, I saw his LinkedIn profile the other day when the name came to me from Ravinder. He is my D school junior. I can call him my junior because I'm also from D school, we all know. And I was just sharing some memories of D school with him. हम किस टीचर से पढ़े हैं और ये किस टीचर से पढ़े हैं, the times have changed. But on this platform, what I would like to say is, he has an engineering background, and he made it to D school, and he made it to civil services. The sky is the limit. This is something we teachers keep telling you, the sky is the limit. The idea of getting guests like him to interact with you is to tell you, sky is the limit. Do not limit yourselves to बस यहीं तक करना है. Anything and everything is possible. All you guys need is a bit of inspiration. And as the departmental in charge, I have always tried to provide some inspiration in official capacity or personal capacity, that nothing is impossible in the world, especially now that you have so much with you, you have so much information in your hands at the tip of your fingers. Use that judiciously, use that in a manner that benefits you rather than just scrolling on various media like Insta. That's what I've always said, and I'm going to say this again here. A very warm welcome to our distinguished guest from the department side. Before anything else, and without speaking much, I'd like to kickstart the event, and I invite Mr. Kashyap to deliver this.
Thank you, ma'am, for this generous introduction, and esteemed principal, Dr. Nirmal Jindal ma'am, teacher in charge, Dr. Ankur Bhatnagar ma'am, Miss Deepika, coordinator, my very good friend Ravinder, fellow faculty members, and my dear young friends. It's been an immense honor for me to be able to come here and interact with you. At the outset, I would like to thank the Optima, the economic society here, which has organized this in the first place. So, without wasting time, let's start. So, when Ravinder called me, he asked me that I would just like you to give a sneak peek in the services of how it is, and just come and give a lecture online. But I insisted that why should I not come for an offline lecture? So he said that I don't know if an offline lecture would be possible or not. But then he said that fine, let me try. And I thank him also just because he had made this happen. So yeah, can we have the next slide, please?
Who's managing the slide there? Maybe.
Take this on. I can take this on.
Yeah, sure.
So, just a brief contents that I'm going to cover. I'll speak about the service, then duties and responsibilities of an IES, the career progression that you can expect in this service, different kinds of opportunities that you can expect in this service, various types of service entitlements that you can have. I'll speak a little bit about the exam as well. Some of the strategies that people tend to follow when they take this exam. Not limited to IES, what are the rest of the opportunities that you can have, considering that you are doing your B honors in economics.
चलो तो कोई बात नहीं, it's all right. Let him speak. आप continue करो. We'll correct it. आप continue करो.
Just keep the laptop on.
आप उनको ही दे दो ना. कोई बात नहीं.
So yeah, so with this brief description, I'd just like to first start. I'd just like to speak about what is a IES. So it's a Group A central service which is ranked at par with all India services. Now what I mean by that, Group A means that's the top level government service that you can expect.
आप PPT और करो तो बाकी try करते रहो राहुल.
Ma'am, it's okay. So as I was mentioning, it's a Group A service. Now what do you mean by Group A? Group A is a top level government service that you can expect. It's at par with IAS, IPS, IRS and all the top all India services. By controlling authority, now who controls our service? It's controlled by the Ministry of Finance. Then what kind of job that we do? Where are we posted? We are posted in all the central ministries. For example, you can take the name shipping, finance, defense, home, so on and so forth. So all central ministries we have to work on. Having said that, you may ask me here, now what is the difference between IAS and an IES? Now IAS, the one who's cleared that exam, first of all, he or she needs to be in the state. So that's an all India service. So he needs to serve in the state for at least 6 to 7 years, know the problems of the state and coordinate with the center on how the state needs more funds and how it can plan it for a better better socio-economic development, so on and so forth. So that is the nature of work for an IAS. He comes on a deputation for a few years to the center. Then again he or she has to go back to the state. That's his nature of job. But when he or she comes to the center, they have to come to us. We will tell them that fine, you have come with a request, you need more funds for your programs, or you need some hand-holding for the development activities that's going on in your state. So that's how we interact with them. We are both at par. Likewise, we have IPS and IRS and so. So these are all state, all India services where they have to first serve in the states. In terms of the nature of work between an IAS and an IES, since I'm just saying IAS because I know that's the great Indian dream, most of you might have some plans for that. We just need to give a sneak peek into that as well. Though I was never interested in that exam because of my interest in IAS, but I'd just like to say that's a generalist service. You have to be jack of all trades. You should know little bit of everything under the sun. Why? IES is a specialized service, which means that you have to have technical knowledge about your competency. You're the go-to person for any economic problems or matters of the country. They will come to you for your expert advice. They cannot, do whatever they want as per their their wishes, unless and until we give a writing on the file that yes, you should have a go ahead, only then they can go and roll out a scheme or roll out funds for a schemes. So, yeah, moving on, can just change. Oh, as I mentioned already, some of the things that I have mentioned, it's just a repetition of that. First of all, what's the role of an IAS officer? We are the in-house economist of the government of India. We are the go-to person whenever there is any problem which is associated with the economic planning of the country. What we do, we give public policy inputs based on sound economic theory and empirical evidence. That now this is very important. We cannot just say a thing that you increase the taxes, people are going to pay more taxes and this and that. No, we cannot just say that. We have to do a research on it. We need to give a very broad justification of why we are saying that, and with that, means once you have made a case for that, only then you can say a line that yes, you should increase the taxes or you should decrease the taxes. Means where can you find us in the national fora? We write the economic survey that's done by us. We give inputs for the union budget, the most sort of the most looked after document, government document in India. We are a part of national and international committees, both in India and abroad. You might have heard of Finance Commission. That's the constitutional body which sets how center and states are going to use their funds, or in terms of collection and both in terms of expenditure. We are also we handle states and the center in planning documents. For example, in the 5 years from now, some state might have some plans of reaching this much amount of income, this much amount of per capita income increase, so on and so forth. So we give them a hand-holding on how to increase that and a roadmap. We also make a roadmap for the states. We do project appraisal. Now that is, if someone comes and he or she comes to a tender to build a bridge, so we need to know that what kind of material that he'll use and what kind of money that he's quoting to use that material. It's taxpayers' money. We cannot just let them come and quote anything and just get away with it. Declaration of minimum support price. I'm sure you all know. Yes. What is an MSP? Yes. So the formula and calculation that goes in is done by us. We only put out the formula based on our research, based on our understanding, and that's how it comes to the national forum. And every year you might read the news and MSP has gone up, MSP has gone down, and there has been an increase of 20% in the MSP. Now that file comes to me. I'm saying this. That file comes to me first because I also look at agriculture and Niti Aayog. So that file comes to me, and I'm the first level to say that there's a rule that says that it cannot cross 1.5 times. There is a rule given by Swaminathan committee that your increase of the MSP should not increase more than 5 times. But when the file had come to me for some sector, for some crop, that was going beyond 1.7 times. So I raised a flag that this cannot go beyond 1.5 times, and if you're doing that, then you need to give a justification. That was rolled back, and they made the corrections. It might not be deliberate as well for that small mistake, but it's our duty to make sure that not even a 0.01%, because that 0.01% amounts to crores and crores of rupees which we get it from the taxpayer. So we have to make that accountable, right? Last but not the least, bilateral and multilateral negotiations. So you know about whenever India goes to the US, there's a lot of agreements that have been signed, nuclear, coal, this, that. But in the background, who does all the, dirty work? Dirty work, I'm saying that, what are the things that India needs to push? You might all have a subject called international trade, and there you might have come across a thing like comparative advantage. Yes? You have heard of comparative advantage? Well, let me ask you this question. What do you mean by comparative advantage? I don't need a textbook definition. I need a very layman definition. Just anyone, take a shot.
That's what offline is for. ना online में चुप बैठ के अब बोलो.
Just take a shot. गलत हो जाए कोई दिक्कत नहीं, कोई बात नहीं है. मेरे को बहुत समझ में नहीं मालूम था. Just take a shot. What do you mean by comparative advantage? Yeah.
Between the two countries, one country is producing a good at less cost, that country has a comparative advantage over others.
Yes, that's mostly about it, but it's much broader than that. So, for example, if US has some technology that we don't have, and we have some manpower that they don't have. So when we go for these bilateral negotiations, we try to push for our labor that you give visa to us. You know, we have many students here who are very, very intellectual and very, very talented. They'll do justice to your companies there. So we push for that. In return, we ask them, you have a technology, I want to get that technology. Now to do this small thing, we need to look at the entire, status of technology in India. We have to see that this technology is not there. This is where we need to, focus, and this we cannot build in the next 5 years or so. So that's how we go out there. We sit down at the table, we do all the calculations, and we try to negotiate. And there's a very niche level of negotiations also take place, which can be explained by economics. And I think you might be introduced soon, or you have already been introduced to the theory, to the game theory. Now, game theory works at a very high level. They are doing it, but they don't know. But we know what's been going on between two countries, just because we can, we can bring it down to one theory by which the entire process of negotiations can be explained. Now, those who are not students of economics, they might be doing this on a basis, but they don't know what's going on in the minds of your negotiator. So yeah, that's how I'm saying. I'm just trying to give a broad scheme of things that what we do. Finally, and this is one of the very important things that has been done by IAS, monitoring and evaluation of central sector and centrally sponsored schemes. Now I'll pose a question. What is the difference between central sector schemes and central sponsor schemes? Take a shot. Just take a shot. I didn't know this till I completed my masters. You guys are still young, so. Yes, that's right. Please give her a big hand. Just to add to what ma'am said, central sponsor schemes are funds which are mostly rolled out by the center, and the states have a little share, 10%, 20%, 40%. And the entire implementation of those centrally sponsored schemes has to be done by the state. Center has nothing to say to them. I give you money, you want money, you put some money, but you need to do these things. I'm not going to tell you how you're going to do it. But after 4 years, what have you done? The money that I have rolled out 4 years ago, what have you done with that money? That's where we come in. We do the complete monitoring and evaluation of what has been done with that money. Based on that, next year, when you come for funds to us, we are going to check you again. If you have done really well, for example, some states have done really well, we'll give you more money because we have excelled. And those states who have not done well, we'll try to find out the reasons by what made you not get that, why has your performance been so low. So that is centrally sponsored schemes. And central sector schemes, is, as ma'am correctly mentioned, it's looked after by the center, it's funded by the center, the states don't have a say of it. Some examples of central sponsored schemes can be Manrega, PMGSY, these are all rolled out by the government but implemented by the states. Central sector schemes, you might say BharatNet, Metro Rail, the states have no say in it, these are done by the center. So moving on, I'll just move to the next step. Now, career progression, what do you do? You can, for the time being, you can ignore the bottom line, that is different part of the story. I'll tell you why. When you first take an exam, IAS, you become an assistant director, which I am currently in that post. I have served 2 years already. So after 5 years, I will become a deputy director. Now this is the first promotion 5 years down the line. Then at that level, I have to serve for at least 4 years to become a director. Director post, 6 years, I become an advisor. And if you're very, very lucky, then you can also become the chief economic advisor. Chief economic advisors in India, you might be knowing. These are the stalwarts that means we should know about them. One is Arvind Subramaniam, Kaushik Basu, Raghuram Rajan, KV Subramaniam, and currently we are all reporting to V. Anant Nageswara. So we report to the chief economic advisor. He is our top authority. What he tells us, we just follow, and we, basically, he is our boss. So moving on. Now, career opportunities from IES. Now, why should you go for IES? Posted to the UNSC, UN Security Council. Then I tell you what are the trainings that you have to go through. In service training, they'll send you abroad. Mandatory, you have to go. You don't have an option. They'll send you to UK. They'll send you to Australia. They'll send you to Singapore for a short-term course, for a long-term course. We have this kind of an exchange program. There, IES, they come here, they serve here for a year. We go there, we serve there for a year. And with that knowledge, our bilateral cooperation gets a push. At the same time, our officers get a chance to get to know what are the things that they work on. And finally, this is a very lucrative thing that means excites me to say the least. 5 years down the line, if you want to go for a PhD, the center will fund you. This is a thing which might not be there in any other All India service. Yes, you might take a leave, but here you will not only get a study leave, but you get a grant as well to take care of your entire expenses of your PhD program. So you can just move on to the next one. Yeah. Now you might ask me, why should I go for a government job and IAS, and why not, I can go for a private sector job. So we're all Indians. We have some stigma in our minds. We have some sense of stability that we want in life. For those who want that, your health insurance will be taken care of your spouse and your parents. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to pay a single money for your health insurance. You will get an accommodation in Delhi, in a very good place, central Delhi, near about the Parliament. It should not be beyond 7 to 10 kilometers, but then make sure that you stay nearby. Just because when they want you, you can be there at your service. Leave travel allowance. Whenever you have to take a trip to your hometown, for those who are not in Delhi, but they have to take a trip home hometown to see their parents, to see their family, Government of India will take care of that. Your flight tickets, your staying, your accommodation, everything will be taken care of. And finally, with a very healthy pension. Now here you don't have a say. They will cut some amount of your money year on year, and then when you retire, you're given a very handsome sum. So that is one other aspects of the perks that you might say. In addition to the fact that it's a government job, it's somewhat stable in comparison to a private sector job. Now let's speak about the exam. For those who are interested in the exam, the first thing that they want you is to have a master's in economics or equivalent, which can be in applied economics, which can be business economics, which can be econometrics. So all these you need to have. See, as ma'am was saying, I have done my engineering, I have done my BTech, but just merely doing a BTech won't get me anywhere. To clear this exam, you have to have a master's, and that's a different thing. When I took the master's, I didn't even know that there's a service called IES. And let me tell you that, I didn't even know about that. I had different plans then, but as we go along, we evolve, we tend to see things in a different way. So that was a very late bloom, I might tell. So you have to have a master's in economics. And considering the fact that you all are in economics, BA honors in economics, so you should take a master. Means if you have plans for a master's, please go for it. But for those who are not in economics, I'm saying, because I don't know if anyone is there, you have to make sure that you at least have one maths, paper on maths and one paper on stats in whatever subject you have taken in your undergrad. You might take English literature as well, but you should have a maths and your stats. Why I say this? If you don't have these two, then you cannot sit for masters in economics. Because in general, I'm saying, or colleges in India, they to apply for a master's in economics, you have to have a limited amount of qualification in your graduation as well, and that is some amount of maths and some amount of stats. The nitty-gritties you can go and check in the website. It's all it's quite explicit there. And now, what is the age limit to take this exam? 30 years is the maximum. You cannot go beyond that. But if you have reservation, you can extend it beyond 5 years for a CST, 3 years for OBC, and 10 years for persons with physical disabilities. Just an overview, what is the exam? As of now, it might change later, but as of now, it has not been changed for the last 12 or so. 6 papers back to back, 3 hours pre-noon, 3 hours post-noon, 6 hours ring back to back, 3 days mein hota hai. It's a physical exercise. It's a mental exercise. They're not going to test your knowledge. Let me tell you these things. No one will tell you. I'm saying from an outsider, because I'm not from the background of economics. They're going to test your physical skills of how you can take the heat. The fans don't work well. You know how government schools are. They're going to test you on that. Your whole hand will pain. Your note sheet will up. Your answer sheet will sweat. And then you have to still write. Your mind will start working with heat. You might get blank, but still you have to keep on writing and writing and writing. So just a piece of advice. The suggestion that you can take: start writing. That's a very good art, and start slowly try to build a pace, because that is what is going to make your break your rank. Yeah? And 6 papers. I can take these in details if we have time later. Now vacancy. Now I mentioned since it's a central sector service, it's not an all India service. Since it's not an all India service, it's a it's a specialized service. So intake per year, on an average, it's 15. So when I took the exam, it was 30. Intake per year is 15, and on an average, but it has gone down to 2 seats as well at some point in time, and it has gone to 35 as well. But to be in a safe option, you just have to keep in mind कि 15 के आसपास ही होएगा, और मतलब specialized है, but it's really good. Means if you want to crack this exam, and then some of the strategies that I have seen my friends do. Those who are from BA honors, considering the fact that most of you are BA honors, you have to do a master's from. These are some indicative list of colleges and universities that you might consider. The ISI, Indian Statistical Institute, DSC, JNU, Ambedkar, Madras School of Economics, Gokhale, IGIDR, so on and so forth. Now here I would like to say something. See, ISI and DSC, their course structure is such that it's quite rigorous. And there's a reason for it. They don't want you to go and become an IAS officer. That's not their main goal. Their main goal is to make you a researcher who's going to do groundbreaking research and represent. They are making you an international economist there. That is what I gauge. So my friends, they cleared the exam in DSC, but still they opted for JNU and Gokhale. Why? They told me they had a dream from their childhood that they want to become an IAS officer. So they knew that DSC might not give them ample amount of time to prepare for that CSE exam. So what they did? They got a seat in DSC, but still they chose to go to JNU, because the course in JNU and the kind of rigor they have in JNU, it's very conducive, I must say, for civil services. But having said that,
if you really want to learn something which is going to test your knowledge, test your intellect, push you to the limits, then I strongly recommend that you should go for the best of the best. I won't take names here, which is best and what not, but you know what I mean. Second, you should take the first attempt at your at the end of your masters. First attempt should be taken regardless of your preparation. Now, why I say this? This is because of two reasons. There is no limit to the number of attempts that you can take in IAS. By the time you pass out, I think you will be 23, 24, 22 in that. So 7 attempts you can take, and it does not matter how many attempts you take. Second reason why I tell you to take the first attempt then is because you know about match practice. So when India goes to Australia to play in a green pitch, they don't just go and play. They play 3 matches with the junior team of the national team of Australia. Now, why do they do that? To get some match practice, to get to know how is the exam. क्या होता है? Test the waters. कि ये में कुछ क्या होगा क्या? There are many things. Preparing for the exam is a very different thing than to actually sit down there and take the exam. You are in a different frame of mind altogether. You know, you don't have time to write, and there's a, in my case, I knew the whole paper of microeconomics, but I was scared because I knew that I didn't have that much time to complete the paper. I knew so much, but I didn't have time to complete the paper. Now this you can get to know only when you take the exam. You have to sit down the exam and know, अच्छा टाइम नहीं होता है, मेरे को कोर्स सब कुछ मालूम है, सबको सब कुछ होता है मालूम, लेकिन टाइम नहीं होता है. So you have to balance out. These things come when you take an attempt. So please take an attempt at the end of first year. You might not be interested in IES also, but if you have a master's in economics, you should take one attempt just to see and test the waters. Second thing, the preparation that you do for IES is going to help you for many other competitive exams as well. You have an RBI Grade B exam, which is at par, I would say, to IES, because it's in Bombay. RBI has two institutions, main institutions where we work. One is in Bombay, one is in Delhi. Though there are offices all around India, but these are the two main from our point of view, from economics point of view. So Grade B would be clear. If you prepare for IES, then Grade B will be clear. So I say this because you might say that 15 सीट है, इसमें पढ़ के अगर नहीं हो तो क्या होगा? अरे बहुत सारा एग्जाम्स होते हैं, हमारा ग्रेड बी भी होता है और बहुत सारा होता है. Now we have this IBC, you know, Insolvency Board of India. They also having an exam, and the course is very similar to IES. So it's not going to get waste. Nothing, whatever you study in your life, it's always going to help you to become a better person. Just note that down. And then, last but not the least, yes, many of you, I'm sure, might be interested in civil services examinations as well. I have many friends who were preparing for civil services, the IAS, IPS, and they took economics as an optional. So they not only cleared IAS, they cleared both the exams. So I'm saying it's complementary to each other. So those who are interested in IAS, you can start preparing for IAS the same time. That is going to help you for IES as well, just because there's an optional in IAS for CSE. That optional covers 40% of your course of IAS. Yeah. Next. So, okay, fine. I don't want to do an IAS. It's not the end of life. You may go IAS, and this is very important. 1991 reforms. Pre-1991 reforms, there was only one job in India to have a respectable name. That was IAS. Because of बनना ही बनना है. 1991 के बाद क्या हुआ? It's changed all over. You know, you don't. Private sector has come up like anything. You know, there you make tens and tens of more money, more respect. Great lifestyle you can have from private sector as well. So the glory of a government grade A service is not the same as it was before 1991. Now there are many options, and as I said, I didn't even know about IES when I took the masters. I had some other plans for my life. So first is being an academician like Ravinder, like man, do a PhD abroad, do a very good PhD abroad or in India, and then you come and teach. For those who are passionate about teaching, Ankush, you know, Ankush is very interested. And my friend, first in the day one of D school, he told me, मेरे को faculty ही बनना है, मेरे को कुछ बनना ही नहीं. He is so interested in teaching. Yeah, he's like, I want to teach. No, I don't care about anything else. I just want to teach. So, and I still talk to him. I spoke to him yesterday. I just told him that they have called me to Satyavati. बोले बहुत बढ़िया, बोले तुम कहाँ हो? मैं तो college में रहूँगा. He is teaching in some college. PhD, yeah. So it's not the end of life. If you're passionate about what you want to do, he wanted to teach, so he's teaching, and he's very happy. He's doing a PhD from D school as well. I think in the last leg of the PhD. And then, so the first option, as I mentioned. Second is consulting. Vast majority of masters in economics are not going into research. They are not going into government. They are not going into. They are going to consulting services. Now there are big four. It's called the big four in India: Deloitte, KPMG, EY, PwC. Very respectable job. You know, there are times when you have to push yourself hard, but as soon as you put some effort, it shows up in your performance, and you'll get a raise, and you'll get a hike of your salary, and you get a different posting. So the career progression, I would risk saying this, but the career progression in private sector is faster than that of government sector. Yeah? And the pay also is much better. So that's the second option. Third option is think tank. Now this is my cup of tea. I wanted to work in a very good think tank and become, my whole point of joining the service is that to serve the country through my field of interest. So think tanks are there. Then of course all India services, IAS, IPS, IRS, and then, as I had mentioned before, international organizations, UN, ADP, World Bank, so on and so forth, these are already open. Do a master's, World Bank का website खोलो, अपना CV डालो, they will call you once in a while. You might not get it in the first chance, but with time, you have some experience, you can go and apply it. And they are as good as where I am. So don't have this thing in your mind, मेरे को IAS ही बनना है या तो मेरे को IES ही बनना है. Dream जो है वो fulfill करो, dream नहीं हो, doesn't matter. There is a plan B. Life is quite short and long at the same time. There are many options that will come to you. And next, yeah. So some thoughts about my experience, what I've seen in my journey to become an IAS. So strategy-wise, there is no one-size-fits-all strategy. What I'll say is, I'll just try to explain what I mean by that. Many people have different kinds of strategies. What I did, I'll tell you. Whenever I got interested to become an IAS, I was still working in Ernst & Young India. So that's a consulting firm. I was working and I got interested just because a faculty member like ma'am, he told me the kind of work that you're doing right now, why don't you go and take the service? You're doing the same work, but we'll be working inside the government. Now I'm a client of the government, but there I will be working with the government. So I got motivated, and then I took the exam. So I started making notes. Whatever I read, I started making notes. Newspaper also, I used to read the newspaper since my childhood, but I never used to make notes for it. Newspaper में side में I used to make small notes. Such as that was my strategy. I cleared it in 3 months. Means 3 months of good effort, and you can clear the exam. But my friends, what they did from a very early age, like you guys are, they started taking the classrooms very seriously. So faculty member, they used to write it down, and they have to make a repository. Because let me tell you, the syllabus of IES is not from your masters. 99% of the syllabus is being covered by your undergrad. That is the level of, the exam. It does not go beyond that. Masters is just a condition to write the exam. So if you do it right now, 80% of your job is done. So you don't need to worry about that. सबका अलग-अलग strategy होता है. Some people like making notes. Some people don't like making notes. Fine. I have friends who have cleared the exam who did not write a single note, but still they have cleared the exam. They just made some diagrams and they had means they focus more on the diagrams than the notes. I took a note because noting से my experience I'll share with you. What does that mean? When you make notes, when you make notes, your mind starts working. Okay, fine. You rephrase your sentence. No, this sentence is not correct. I'll cut it and I'll write it again. So once you do that, it gets ingrained in your mind in the first line. Then when you read it again, then it gets reinforced. And the final revision will just make you the seal the deal, you know, that's like a fingertip feel. Whenever someone will ask a question like what is a comparative advantage of a sentence in the scheme, it's in your fingertips. Because that is ingrained in your mind. So, सबका अलग-अलग strategy होता है. Just follow your strategy. Just do whatever you feel is correct. Discipline is the most important thing for not just IAS, not just IAS. If you want to be successful in life, sleep at a time which, whatever time it is, but sleep during that time only. Wake up in a time that is fixed. Don't keep on changing that. Economics, I know youngsters tend to sleep late these days, but just try to sleep early and wake up early. But if it's still not the case, then at least fix a time that I'm going to sleep at 11 o'clock and I'm going to wake up at 6 o'clock, come what me. And ये मेरे को आज पढ़ना है, न्यूज़पेपर आज तो पढ़ना ही है. 8 से 9 is a time for my newspaper. Come what में कुछ भी हो जाए, जितना भी important काम क्यों ना हो, unless and until it's a matter of life and death, 8 to 9, I'm going to stick to reading the newspaper. So, discipline is the key. Third is passion versus security. Now, security, many people take the exam just because they think that they are going to, it's going to give them some sense of job security and job stability. You know, that's a very fair deal. Why should I go for private sector? कल recession हो जाएगा, ये लोग निकाल देंगे, मेरा lockdown पड़ जाएगा, then they'll fire me. Where will I go? So that's, you know, let's not be greedy. Let's try to get into the government at least. कम मिलेगा पैसा, लेकिन एक respect भी है होगा, और my job will be secure. That is the motivation of many Indians. And to an extent, I would say I have the same opinion as well. But passion is a thing that if you can marry passion with security, then nothing more like it. I changed my field from engineering to economics just because I was fascinated by this subject. I read 2 books, Why Nations Fail and The Uncertain Glory, and it completely changed my way of looking at things. That's the call I took. I'm not going to stick to my engineering. I'm going to shift to economics because I got a calling. So that was my passion that took me to this place. And then I thought, okay, fine, let me mix. I wanted to get the research translated into policy. So I thought the best way to do that is through getting the IAS. So that was my, motivation. But job security, you don't know what to do in life and you just want to go along with the flow. Please go ahead. But you have some passion in life. You want to be a writer, you want to be a singer. Keep doing that. Don't miss that. That brings me to the next point. Extracurricular activities. Whatever you want to do, jitna bhi jo karna hai, one extracurricular activity, at least in life, is very important. You play an instrument, you play sports, you play games, you do a dance, you do music, whatever it is, whatever exercise, you write, you sketch, you do an art, but ये रहना ही रहना है. Preparation के साथ भी रहना है, preparation के बाद भी रहना है. Because this is what is very important for your physical health and mental health. Once you do this, then you will be more confident in taking the exam. This is a very important thing. Please take this into consideration. One extra curricular activity is very important while you prepare. Next is stop procrastinating. British but balanced diet also. You have to have some vegetables, some protein, some rice. That will get you. That will get your health going in the long run. And finally, focus on the controllables, not on the outcome. Now, this reminds me of my grandmother, who used to quote from the Gita. फल की इच्छा मत करो तो बस काम करो लेकिन फोकस होके काम करो. I'll give you a very good example of this. Raghuram Rajan, when he was the governor of RBI, was once been asked that, sir, inflation is both a supply side phenomenon and a demand side phenomenon. So whenever there is a drought, the prices of goods, food increases. But still you increase the rates. You increase the repo rates through. He says that there is a second round effect by which let me not get into that. But then he said that when the very fact that when you have supply side, then how can you put demand side interventions to control a supply side factor? Then he said that, see, when I take a call on repo rate, I think on one lines. There are some things that are in my control, there are things that are not in my control. Now, what are the things are in my control? Savings of Indians, investments of Indians, consumption of Indians. Now, what is there not in my control? Your Gulf war, your Ukraine war, this is going on right now. Oil prices नहीं हो जाएगा, इसमें तो मेरा कोई कंट्रोल नहीं है. और ऐसा तो नहीं है कि आरबीआई ने हाथ खड़ा करके बंद कर कि मेरे कंट्रोल नहीं, मैं बंद करके डालूंगा. I don't need a central bank in the country. It's there, right? It's working. So it's working on the controllables. It's not working on those non-controllables. Though its goal is to make sure that the controllables are in order. The outcome of the exam is not in your hands. My dear, it's not there in your hands at all. Your luck factor is there. Your duty is just to do whatever you think is in your control. What is in your control? Coming to class on time. What is in your control? Going home and doing the notes. What is in your control? Sleep on time, wake up on time. What's in your control? Read what's been done in the class. And these are the things that are in your control. So just focus on the controls and let the outcomes take its own course. Next. So my experience, ma'am has already said my experience. To be short, I had done my engineering from NIT Curricular in computer science. Then final year of college, I read 2 books. I said the Uncertainty and the Why Nations Fail. And I got interested in the field of economics, and I thought that my knowledge of statistics and maths can be used to crack the exam at BSc. So I took the entrance at BSc to clear the exam. First year was hell, because I didn't have any idea of, I still remember one incident where they were teaching me about Lucas critique, but I didn't even know what is Keynesian economics at that point in time. That was my level. Let me tell you guys, you know much more than the level I was during your time. So if I can bloody crack the exam, then all of you can crack the exam. So please have that thing in your mind. Yeah. So first year was quite nasty. And we all struggled during the first year. That was an experience, but that made us grow in life. We thought that we could push ourselves to the limits, and I'm sure ma'am will say the same thing. The school always tends to get the best out of you forcefully. Yeah, and then 2 years done, and then I worked for a few years. When I was working with Ministry of External Affairs, I got in touch with my boss, and he told me the work that you're doing here is the same work that an IES does, but why don't you take the exam and try to become a part of that, fraternity, that you don't have to work as a client, but you can work for the government. So that was my motivation. 2017, I took my first attempt. That was my very good attempt. बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम हुआ था, क्लियर नहीं हुआ, 7 नंबर से रह गया था. Devastated. बोले क्या हो गया भाई? 3 महीने मैंने लीव लिया था, 3 months का मैंने लीव लिया था from my job. I was devastated. भाई नहीं हुआ. सबको लगता है बुरा. फेल होता है तो फिर it's not that हाँ फेल हो गया, मैं घर में जाके एंजॉय करूँगा. एक तो नहीं लगेगा, 10 दिन लगेगा to get out of it, but you will get out of it. And the knowledge that you have acquired is going to help you in the long run. Then 2018 I didn't even take the exam. I lost hope. मेरे कौन देता है ये एग्जाम? छोड़. एक बार नहीं हुआ, मेरे ईगो में लग गया है. I'm not going to take this exam anymore. 2019, when I was working with UNICEF, my mom told me that there's a form, please go and fill it. She mentioned me, you have already done the preparation, you just have to go and sit. So that was true. My preparation was done then only in 2017. I didn't do anything new in 2019. 2019 I took the exam. Now this attempt was not as good as the attempt I took in 2017. Now here it's the luck wala factor, the outcome wala factor. The first attempt was a brilliant attempt. वहाँ पे नहीं हुआ. Second attempt was not at all good. मेरे मतलब कोई तो होगा ही नहीं, चांस ही नहीं है. नंबर लग गया, कॉल आ गया इंटरव्यू, एक मतलब one sweep में I cleared the exam. So that's the whole point I'm trying to make. And right now I'm working with Niti Aayog. I look after agriculture and climate change negotiations for the government of India. COP26, we have the inputs that we gave, where some of them have been accepted, and yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. And guys, if you want to reach out to me, please feel to reach out to me. I'll share my number, and means my number is there with Ravinder sir already. You can reach out to him and you can tell me who all wants to get in touch with me. But all the best, have complete faith in yourself. So, first you have to have faith in yourself, then you can have faith in others. Have complete faith in yourself. You will all do well. I'm so sure. That's my faith that all of you, each one in this room, is going to do really well in life. So all the best for that. Thank you.
बंद कर दें?